I thought you'd be down on the surface with everyone else.
After what happened with Book, I want to be with my family. I'm glad you're here.
Welcome, everyone, to Deep Space Pride, a gay Star Trek podcast. I am one of your hosts, Johnson, and with me, as usual, is my co-host, Mike Thurlow. Mike, how are you doing today? You look like a deer in headlights for some reason.
Right? Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like your photo look.
Yeah.
How you usually look in photos.
How I usually look in photos, yes. No, I'm fine. Yeah, it's Wednesday. I'm ready for this week to be over.
I'm so ready. I was born ready for this week to be over.
Yeah. Yes, as your messages to me indicated, you were like, I'm overworking and not overworking as in one word, but I'm overworking.
Yes, like in general.
Yes.
I'm over the toil and suffering that is life at work.
Yes.
But I can't retire just yet. I only hit 40, so have some time to go.
You do. Yes, as do I. But yeah. No, I'm here. Yeah, we're a little low energy, but it's one of those weeks. I don't know. I just feel
I'm not low. You're low energy. I feel fine. I'm just tired. Like my usual baseline.
Right. Well, your enthusiasm for saying our opening line was not very strong. So.
Well, I didn't want to overdo it. I didn't want to overcompensate.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, so you had some travel this past weekend. You were in Boston with Dennis and family, right. And your nephews and nieces put on, there was some sort of play or something?
Yeah, my two twin nephews were in a musical, the Big Bad Musical, where
what's that?
The big bad wolf was put on trial for all the things that he had ever done in fairy tale land, and
that's cool. I haven't heard. Is this a real musical, or do they like just make it up?
Oh, no, I mean I don't. It was written by the director. I don't know. It was
okay.
But it's
cute.
It was cute. My nephews did a great job. They enjoyed themselves, which I think is the big thing. And one of my nephews, Caden, played the boy who cried wolf.
Oh, that's cute.
And the other nephew, Harrison, played pig number 2.
Okay.
From the Three Little Pigs, who, his house was made of sticks. Yes.
Correct.
So, So they, they both had a good time. They both did great. A favorite moment of mine was Caden had finished his moment of singing and everything, and his brother who's already done his part, is over in the corner, and when he goes back to sit down, he goes like thumbs up to Caden and then to the audience. So
that's cute.
So a cute supportive brother there, and they did a great job, and it was a kids musical, so it was all kids, and so there were it was kids. There were some outstanding actors, and then there were some more quieter ones, so
mediocre ones.
Yeah, and they were not playing. They were mic'd, and so it's not like a professional sound place where that it's all you can't pick up all the kids' different different levels, and so some are quieter than others, and
Sure.
so and it's in a big in the high school auditorium. So yeah.
Well, I would definitely have gone in with low expectations. So
Yeah, I mean it was good. It was it was it was enjoyable. It wasn't there were parts.
you're distracted. Why are you
I
so
am distracted.
Mike?
Sorry, my puppy is very active today.
I'm not sure. Is this really better than kind of putting him like locked up in the kitchen? You can't even respond to me.
I can't even respond because he suddenly starts eating the chair tonight. I don't know why. Well, not just tonight, but so yes, he's sort of being a little obnoxious right now. He's hyperactive. But
nice?
he's got toys here and he's chewing on the chair that I'm sitting on. So that's why I was distracted. But it is National Puppy Day, so I guess we'll give him a break. But
he needs like a muzzle.
He does chew on everything, and he So we're actually really lucky. He's only chewed up one pair of my sneakers, and that was like when he was 4 months old. So this was months ago. And then he does occasionally chew on other things, but we usually catch him, and he doesn't do it for very long. So yeah. So it's not too bad, but he's 8, almost 9 months. Oh, he'll be 9 months next week. So
wow.
Yeah. So, and he's 42 pounds. So
okay.
Hopefully he's stabilizing and kind of leveling off here.
Sounds like it, yeah, because he's been in the 40-pound range for a while.
Yeah. So yeah. So. But yeah, so that yes, and he went up with us, and he did get sick on the way up, within like a half an hour of being in the car. I don't know if it's just like he looks out and watches everything go by, like motion sickness, because he doesn't do that after he's been playing all weekend with his cousins. So
yeah,
he's more exhausted. So I think
at least it wasn't both vomiting and diarrhea.
Right. Yes. It was just it was manageable. It was manageable. It's just yes. We left a little later than we should have maybe or we got out as quickly as we could once I got up, because I wanted to sleep in and just see how I was feeling, having had the flu last week. So
right.
All of that. So yeah. So yeah, and he was fine on the way back. He didn't sleep, and it was a normal trip back, but
good.
So yeah. How was your weekend? I know we didn't get to chat much because I was busy.
Yeah, you were busy. I was busy. I had a lot of social activity. It was packed. It was like back to back. I don't even remember everything I did this weekend. I did have high tea with some friends on Saturday afternoon. That was nice. And then I had another date with my guy that evening, Saturday evening. We went to a new drawing class. It was fun. I've done that before. It was his first time. It was like new drawing with charcoal. That was cool. And then Sunday I had like a game night. I hosted like a dinner and game night. So that was nice. But it was like back to back. I was like, I'm over this.
Yeah.
So yeah. But it was busy. It's good. I'm looking forward to this weekend where I have very little to do.
Oh, that's interesting. That's
well, I'm seeing my mom. I'm visiting. I'm a good son. I'm visiting my mom.
Oh, you are. It's mom's weekend.
Yes.
So it's Chinese food and takeout and
yes. And a lot has changed since the last time I saw her, but she's not gonna know anything about it. She's not gonna know anything about the guy I'm seeing. Our physical activity. She's not gonna know anything about that.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's gonna be in the DL.
That is a good plan. Yes.
Yes. So, but yeah, no, I'm looking forward to just not having to host or do anything or have like zillion obligations. So
yeah, you typically sleep in and then go out to eat, or
exactly.
Yeah.
And then we come back and then we go back to the house and we sit and wait for dinner, and then we go out to eat again. So That's
Do you go out to the same places all the time?
Correct. We usually go back to the same place for lunch and dinner every day.
Okay.
Yes, because she's very particular and she doesn't like to eat anything that, like, she'll always complain about anything that's not Chinese, essentially.
Okay.
It's too expensive, or it's not enough food, it's not a good deal, doesn't taste good, it's too sweet. I'm like, all right, bitch, let's just go where you want. I don't really care. It's like, whatever. So, yeah, I'm actually looking forward to just taking a break.
Good. That's yes, I'm looking forward to that as well.
Yeah. Yes, I think we both need a mental break.
Yes, just shut down and yes. Which makes tomorrow all the more important to get a lot done so that I can really kind of wind down on Friday.
But Mike, do you know what's in 2 weeks?
Yeah, I do. 2 weeks from today, we'll be packing for Chicago.
Isn't that crazy? It's in 2 weeks. I'm not ready for this trip mentally, I think. I'm not there.
No, I'm not either, but they are adding more people to the lineup.
Yeah, but I'm like, why is it taking so long?
Yeah, I don't know. But we've got Captain Pike, Anson Mount is coming. We've got Tawny Newsome coming.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I just saw James Cromwell is coming.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Walter King. Was that already announced? This is on the homepage. Walter King.
No, I think all of these are fairly new.
I don't even know. I feel there's like no semblance of like what is going on that weekend in terms of lineup or what they're doing. I don't know. I don't know if what's Repop that's the organizer. I don't know if they're necessarily doing a better job, because I know we talked about this and they do a lot of big conventions. I don't know if they're doing that great a job on this one.
Well, I think we're still in this weird between times.
No, Mike, the pandemic is over.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, it's not over, obviously, but
right.
I mean, our government wants us to go back to normal, so I don't know.
Right. Exactly.
Obviously, of course, it's not back to normal, but I don't know. I mean, Vegas is booking a lot of guests. They have their usual robust lineup. Meanwhile, I'm on this homepage and there are 6 guests that are featured. It's like, what? They need to do a better job.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I don't know, given what I heard back when Trek Geeks was doing the Hollywood Food Co. telethon. I watched a lot of those panels, and a lot of the stars were saying that they actually liked being able to just stay home and, attend things virtually and do all of that. So, I mean, this was a few months ago. So,
right. A few months ago was a long time ago.
Yes, in this timeline, it is a long time ago. As
3 months ago, we were still dealing with Omicron.
True. Yes.
It was just starting, actually.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's
about time. It's so weird.
Yeah, I mean, we've been home for over 2 years now, working from home, and which is also crazy. It feels like even longer.
I know.
Yeah. It's
Well, I mean, we'll see. We're gonna be there in 2 weeks. We already paid for everything.
Yep.
So, you know what? We're gonna enjoy it one way or another.
Yeah.
We should probably figure out what we want to do in Chicago. You want to go see the Bean?
I mean, I've never seen it before, which is weird because I've never
seen it either in person. I've only seen it in photos. I mean, I kind of get it. I feel I'm gonna go and be like, all right, I kind of got the idea from photos.
Yeah. No, I do love a good deep dish pizza.
Ugh, I hate Chicago style pizza. I hate it. It's like so much dough. It's just like all dough, and I'm like, where's the flavor?
Fair enough. I mean, I like
thin crust.
Yeah. Well, you're a New Yorker. I mean,
like thin crust. The thinner.
I mean, I'm a New Yorker
I want my crust
too.
to be like non-existent.
Okay.
And I just want the crunch, and then the flavor.
Okay. I mean, I love the cheese and tomatoes. So I mean.
Well, yeah. Well, you get that with thin crust. Then it's all cheese and tomatoes, and then you just have a little bit of the texture of the crust.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
I don't like doughy things. I don't like bagels either. I'm a bad New Yorker in that way.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm not a bagel. It's just too much dough.
How did I not know that about you?
Yeah, I don't.
Oh yes. You love thin crust pizza, but you don't like bagels. That's a weird dichotomy.
Bagels are a lot of dough.
No, I understand where you're coming from the dough perspective, but I just as a New Yorker, I mean, gosh, I mean the police are about to bang on your door and carry you away for being a bad New Yorker. I don't like very doughy food, not to tangent too much, but I don't like Asian rice cake. I don't know if you really know what that is, but it's usually like very doughy. It's like almost like thick noodles. But I don't like that because I'm like, all right, you're not working a lot of surface area. I prefer more surface area, like flavor to surface area ratio. Okay. So when you're talking about like very doughy or very thick doughy kinds of like, I like my bread cut very thin, etc. Interesting. Because yes, more taste to surface area ratio. Okay. I mean, I understand where you're coming from. I don't necessarily. You can have some deep dish pizza. I will look at you. I'll just stand there looking at you. You can have a salad or something. Sure. Because I need to wash my finger. Yes, you do. Yes. You're dating, so yes, you do need to. If dating or not dating, I would still wash my finger. Yes, I understand. You are very healthy, and in the best shape of probably all of us. Well, our group, I suppose. Yes, our group of friends per se. Yes. Anyway. All right. Yeah, so that's coming up, and so we'll be there in 2 weeks. So we'll have to decide whether we're going to record in 2 weeks or what we're going to do. So. Yeah. We'll have to figure that out. Maybe we can record early. Maybe, because we are back to just a single episode of Picard. So this double up of a lot of Star Trek is it's coming to an end with this episode. Although I guess we get it on the other end with Picard and Strange New Worlds, which happens in May. So we have a month and a half or a month of not having to do services at one time. Yeah, I think it's just the final 2 episodes of Picard overlap with Strange New Worlds. Yeah, which I am really excited to see. I'm very excited for it for sure. Yeah. So maybe get a picture with Anson Mount. That would be pretty cool. I'm not paying for that shit. You can take a photo. It's like ridiculous. The photo that we got with what's his face with Sulu. Oh my god. With George Takei. I'm looking at it right now. It is George Takei. George Takei. Takei. Yes. Not Takei. My god. Okay. Why don't we just call him George, because we know him so well. The OG photo was ridiculous with the acrylic in between us. Yes. It was quite noticeable on the pre-edited piece. Yes. But yes. So yeah, that was last summer, and that was in the days of Delta. I understand. I know. There's days of Delta. It's a different time. It was a different time. Yes. So. Well, cool. Well, we've got a lot of Star Trek to cover and not a lot of time to do it. So, well, I'm in no rush. Is there any news that we need to talk about? No, not. I'm not sure there's much in the way of news from my recollection. No, there nothing sticks out. Yeah. No, nothing. All right. Well, yes. Why don't we talk about Star Trek then? Or rather, talk about the episodes that we're going to discuss. So first up, we have the Discovery season 4 finale, Coming Home.
Commander, are you okay?
Better than Boy Genius. He'll be through to the power source in the next 10, just FYI.
Reese? Still getting weapons online.
I'll see if I can help with that. The man loves you. He said, do whatever it takes.
Yes.
All right, Mike. Overall impressions of this episode. I know we talked a little about it over Slack, which is our usual conversation, I would say. But what did you think about this episode?
I mean, I have mixed feelings about it. I mean, there are some nice moments in it, but I am, as we have recorded, it has taken forever to get here, and the payoff is mixed.
Yes,
and I think it's very mixed. Yeah. So I really like the beginning of the episode because we get to have Tilly come back, which is awesome. And we had just said last week, I think it was, that, where is Tilly? And they gave it to us right at the beginning, which was great.
Yeah,
Perfect.
I love it too. I do think that she was, it's been a break. We've had a break away from her. And I do think that it is a slightly different Tilly. Like she's much more in charge, which I think she's supposed to be now she's in the Starfleet Academy role. But I also kind of miss, because of the scenes we get with her and then also with Vance, they're very mysterious, and I kind of miss just silly Tilly, I suppose. But
it was, the later on scenes towards the end where they thought that, they let everyone escape and get away, and they were going to be destroyed when the DMA hit Earth. And I thought it was really nice because she said she was happy with her life, and I thought that was really nice.
No, it was nice, but I also kind of missed the silly part.
Oh yeah. But she was, and I also enjoyed
that she brings.
Yeah,
she still has her heart. Don't get me wrong. It's still very heartful Tilly, very honest, feelings on her sleeve, which is what we've come to expect from her. But she doesn't bring the comedic edge that her character used to.
True. Yes. Yeah. But I still felt very good. I enjoyed having her back. I enjoyed the scenes with her and Vance. They were more serious, but I liked her more in charge. And I thought it was good, and I even later, after that, after everything had kind of resolved, I thought it was really, really nice to see her reuniting with the crew.
Yes.
I
still don't quite know why she took a 8-episode break. It's kind of still odd to me. She is doing a play, but I'm not sure.
She is. Yeah. She is doing a play here in New York. Yeah.
But that's now. And this was filmed months ago. So I'm not sure. Maybe she was doing other stuff. It was just kind of a
maybe.
Decision.
Yeah. I mean, there's, I think there's a number of things we don't know, she could have been in rehearsals for the play for a while.
Right.
So there's that. Don't know. There's the perhaps proposed or somewhere on the slate, the Starfleet Academy series.
But that's so far away. That's going to be post Section 31. So it's hard to know whether it was professional obligations or
just COVID or related or whatever. We have no idea.
No idea.
So, which as I am pleased that this season has come to an end. And actually, when I was watching it this afternoon, I felt like it was kind of like the end of season 2. So I feel like we're in these 2-season arcs where this sort of felt like an ending to that. Then I don't know if we want to use Star Wars language, book 2 of Discovery or whatever, however you want to call it. But it felt, it did feel nicely rounded out in the fact that Earth is rejoining the Federation.
Sure.
The Discovery is home but needs a break. Everyone's going on vacation. Everyone's going on vacation. The Discovery needs some major repairs. I'd love to see some redesigning on it. Maybe not exteriorly, but I would love to see some, some new 32nd century interiors would
Well,
be
the
cool.
spore drive chamber got blown up, so
Yep.
hopefully we'll see something new with engineering.
Yeah. Yeah. And it'd be nice to pass that design upgrade to the bridge. So yeah, we'll see. Obviously they're not back filming yet because Strange New Worlds is filming right now. So
Well, they're also still writing season 5.
right, yes, yeah. So I thought that Sonequa did a great job with it. I felt the emotion at the loss of Book.
But just kidding.
Yeah, I mean that piece of it at the end, but yeah, I felt that loss, and I thought that she was strong for it, and I don't think anyone expected her, Book to come back. I thought it was a serious loss, and then it was a bit of a surprise at the end to have him come back.
That's my major issue with this episode. I just feel that we've been talking the entire season about how Michael needs to suffer some sort of loss for her to realize the sacrifices and the potential battles that she can't win as captain. So I feel that we got a lot of that kind of like in this episode in particular. I feel we got a lot of that where it was like a lot of like, just kidding. Book is a major example where I actually I thought Sonequa did a great job when everyone thought that Book didn't make it back. I thought that she was very nuanced in her performance in terms of the breakdown, but then her breaking down, but then bringing herself back together and leading. That was a great sequence. But I thought that then bringing Book back, I was like incredulous. I was live tweeting at you in Slack. I was incredulous that Book got brought back. I was like, are you fucking serious? It actually made me mad that Book came back, and I will revisit that feeling in a little bit. But we also got this early in the episode where they made it sound like someone had to go on a suicide mission to stop Book and Tarka in the graviton beam that they were shooting at whatever the energy source. And Detmer stood up and like, are they going to kill Detmer? They made it sound like it was a suicide mission. They were like, it needs to be piloted manually. And You got Detmer volunteering. 5 seconds later, Nadoya is like, oh, I will do it. I was like, okay, that was weird. Like, why even have this whole drama with Detmer if Nadoya's going to do it? And it was like, I don't really care if Nadoya dies. But Nadoya doesn't even die. Nadoya is like, she gets transported back. And I was just like, okay, I feel like we were kind of given these stakes that weren't real. Mm-hmm. If they could easily just transport whoever had to manually pilot the shuttle, like they made it really sound like whoever was going to do this was not going to make it. But just kidding. So I feel that there was just
I agree. Yeah, that
there was a lot of this like setup stakes, but no stakes, and at the end, literally no one dies except for Tarka. So I don't know, like everyone,
and he didn't die and all of that. I really wanted to like feel his death more. That I really despise him. So I really wanted to. I felt like his coming around and him and Book in this last episode, their scenes together
was like very weird. It was very sudden.
Yeah, it was just
it just happened so quickly because Book was like, what's his boyfriend's name? Oslo Orson, Tarka's boyfriend?
Oslo or something like that.
Something, and Book was like, he's gone, and then Tarka
Orso is
whatever. And then Tarek just kind of breaks down, and I was like, "That was fast," Yeah, it was just like it was just so sudden, like a very sudden change of heart, and I don't know. It was just, like high stakes, but not really. I feel that's been the whole season. High stakes, but not really. We started with a bang, like a whole planet destroyed, and then the entire season we've just been edged along.
Yeah, I mean, we did start out with Quajan being destroyed, which was significant, and then we really didn't see anything significant beyond that, like no other major planets until the end of the season, where
Right.
Navarre and Earth were kind of threatened, really came about. And I think this whole arc with Tarka was disappointingly drawn out, but also it didn't feel authentic in a way, like it just, and then to have it all wrapped up nicely in a bow.
Yeah, that's what, like, going back to my incredulousness, I was just like, everyone got their happy ending essentially, and I just think that the season had, from a narrative standpoint, had kind of set us up for Michael to kind of learn this lesson, but she basically had her cake and ate it too. She was able to kind of have it her way. And from just a narrative standpoint, I don't think that's interesting. And it just really kind of ultimately, I think, actually does her character a disservice. But, here we are. So I don't know. I just thought that from an overall standpoint, I just thought that the payoff was not what we should have gotten.
Yeah, I mean, but we felt that way all along. I mean, there's really not a time where I felt, oh, this is getting super, serious on the threat level. Right. I think that the most threat we felt was seeing Starfleet and the Federation come to rescue Earth, and that felt more.
That was cool.
We
saw Starfleet headquarters. I didn't know Starfleet headquarters could warp. So that was a cool sequence. That was neat.
That was a cool sequence.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought
at
that
first
was great.
When we saw the shot of Starfleet headquarters in warp, I was like, what is that? Because I didn't immediately recognize it. And then I was wait, it's the Starfleet headquarters thingy. So
yeah.
that was interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting when I saw that in the opening sequence, and then to see Vance, and then to see Tilly, on it. I thought that was
probably
really
the best part for me, the Vance Tilly Starfleet headquarters stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a highlight for the show. I think that the book and Tarka conversations and everything were just kind of blah.
Whatever.
I thought that Soneqa's performance when she thought Book was dead was powerful, was good.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought she did really well with that. In fact, when we were talking about it just a few minutes ago, I got the feeling, or the reminder, of how Kirk responded when his son was killed in Star Trek 3. Almost to that point where, he kind of falls down, but she didn't quite fall down, but she bucked up pretty quickly, which was really amazing. I think that, they still had stuff to do, right? They still had, they had to figure out how to save. Yeah, the mission wasn't over, and she knew that it wasn't her time to excuse me, it wasn't her time to grieve. So, she had to move on and fix the mission. So finish the mission. So, I thought it was interesting to bring the whole bridge crew down to,
I was like, who's on the bridge?
To the 10C planet, but, and
they were just there. Most of them, they were kind of, they were just there to like gawk. I was like, all right, they're not even doing anything, but sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
and then what I was complaining about is only a few hours ago, they were trying to communicate with the 10C, and they were using like greater or less than symbols. And now you have these really complicated conversations with 10C. Like President Rillick, the first thing that she said, which made me laugh out loud because I thought it was so ridiculous, because the 10C were asking, oh, are you not one or something like that? How many ones are you? And then Rillick was like, well, we're each one, but we're also all one. I was like, all right, what the fuck? Like, that's such a like philosophical concept. Like, I know Chinese, and I can barely say that to my mother. I can barely say that in Chinese and have it make sense, let alone a completely different alien species where you just learned the language 5 minutes ago. Like, this is fucking ridiculous. And then they all go on these like really long soliloquies to 10C where they're explaining like what they've done and why it hurts. And I'm like, oh my God, like seriously, it's like, it was like ridiculous. And yeah, I just, because not even like that long ago in earlier this episode, I think it was Michael that was telling Zora, oh, can we explain to them that basically Tarka and Book are operating on their own and we're not with them. And Zora was like, oh, that's going to take a little bit to explain. Like even Zora Zora needed time. And basically right before they went down to it, like not a little planetoid, but that platform, Adira was like, oh, we updated the new algorithm. I was like, oh, whatever. It's like just lazy shit. Like I'm just like can't stand that fucking nonsense. It's just like great leaps in logic. And I'm just, I was not there for it.
Yeah, I mean, the whole
it's just very convenient.
First contact. Yeah, it was all too nicely tied up and I thought their speeches were kind of long-winded and complicated.
It was long-winded, very complicated and philosophical, and I don't know. I would not be able to say those things to my mom, and I know Chinese, like it's just not, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean,
I just hate it when like shows do these like shortcuts, and it's lazy writing. It's lazy writing, and I can't stand it.
Yeah, I mean, this episode was written by Michelle Paradise, who she's the executive, one of the what am I trying to say? The executive producer, but she's also the showrunner,
right,
for Discovery. So she she wrapped it up too nice and neatly, but I think that the problem is that it was all leading that way anyway, and she's so again I just think that it's there wasn't any the stakes weren't there. It was everything was just wrapped up too nicely, and so yeah, I mean it's very, very run of the mill for this season, right? It's not, we didn't expect anything differently from it, and we didn't get anything differently from it. There were some nice parts to it, Tilly being an outstanding piece of this, and also I have to say that the Saru and Tarina piece was also really nice. Those little scenes that you see.
Good. I was fine with that. I'm glad that they finally, circle back to that, and they, define the relationship a little bit, or as we say in some circles, they had a DTR, and they kind of figured out where they stood. So I did like that, and I'm glad that this is kind of setting up for next season where they're going to develop that relationship. So that was good.
Yeah,
I did enjoy.
Yeah, that. and Doug Jones said that all along that's one of the things that he wanted for Saru was a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So that was nice to see. Yeah, I think that it was, in rewatching it, it was such a standout that suddenly Tig Notaro was there and then she's not there.
Yeah.
And it would have been nice to have her in that scene with Adira, Hugh, and Paul in engineering as they're kind of like where everyone else is down on the planet. It was nice to have her. It would have been nice to have her be part of that a little bit. And she was off making a cocktail over the.
I think she's had some. I think Tig Notaro has had some scheduling issues or something like that.
Yeah, so, yeah. I mean, she also did a show here in New York over the last week or so.
She's really busy. I feel that she might have filmed her scenes on the bridge separately or something.
Yeah, I think that she had a different. Yeah, they really worked, scheduling around her. But yeah, it's just things like that, noticeable things about this whole season of Discovery, and we, maybe we can talk about the whole season. Yeah, I think week or whatever, or take a little bit of a break from it and go back and talk about it later. I don't know.
Take a break, take a step back, and then revisit.
Yeah, just think about the season and in a way for us to talk about it that would that would make sense. So yeah, there is, and I don't know if we'll use this in our clips for this episode or not, but Michael's final log entry that kind of guides the end towards the end.
Oh my god, this like long voiceover.
Yes, this long, yeah.
I hate these like long drawn out voiceovers. Everyone's happy. We're all good. See you later. I was like, oh my god. It was just like,
but if you listen to the first part of it, it's great because it sums up the season pretty nicely, and the fact that it took, I think one of the things that she says is it took a long time to get here.
Hard to believe it's over. The uncertainty, the fear, the unknown. Sometimes it felt like it would never end. But we made it.
And when I heard that, I was like, you are so right, Michael. You are so right. It took forever to get here, and I'm not sure that this is, so...
It's a dog whining.
So...
Okay, did you not want to... You didn't want to lock this dog up because you were like, he's going to whine and bark. And he's next to you right now, and he's whining anyway. So what is the point? Not only is he whining, he's also distracting. So what's better?
It's fine. I was continuing to talk while he was whining, so it's perfectly fine.
All right. There are moments when your attention deviated. I'm just letting you know.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for being the attention police for me. I appreciate that.
Anytime.
I appreciate that.
I'm all about being present. I'm all about I want you to be present.
Oh,
I'm present. I try to be. So I do think we still need to talk about our cameo a little bit. And I think that our opinions may differ actually on what we thought about this. But why don't you talk a little bit about it first?
I mean, for me, so even rewatching it today. So when I watched it the first time, this scene was really, I was like, wow. I was really, I was like,
what are you talking about? Are you not gonna?
Yeah, when Stacey Abrams appears as the president of the Earth, I was just like, oh my gosh, like it was awesome. I was actually I talked out loud at my iPad watching it, and I was like, oh my god, they got her. That's awesome. Wow, I was so impressed. And so yeah, I couldn't have. I really enjoyed that. She's an incredible force in politics now, and it's well known. She's said in many interviews that she grew up watching Star Trek.
Yeah, she's a big.
So she's a huge fan. So I think this was such a huge payoff, and I just really loved the scene where she comes and she says, "There's no negotiations needed. We're ready to join." And then she has this nice little convo with Michael about getting back to work, which is just appropriately Stacey Abrams. And I thought it was a nice touch this season. If I had to guess, when we were in Chicago, not in Chicago, when we were in Las Vegas, sorry, if you remember, Tara Rosling was called back. Remember, she left after one day for reshoots, and I wonder if it was for that scene. I think it was specifically for that scene. If I would,
that would make sense because Sneeko wasn't there either.
Right. Yeah. Sneeko wasn't there. Doug wasn't there. None of, and who else? None of the supporting cast.
That
Chala or so I think that's when it was filmed. I think that's when it was so I thought it was great, and actually, there are a few moments before that I'm trying to remember where I kind of had all the feels. Maybe it was just about like things wrapping up, and I do think it was too much of a bow on it, but I some of the moments with the crew were really nice. And everything like
in the mess hall or whatever.
Yeah, and the montage of Tilly coming in and hugging Michael, and that was all really nice. And then kind of the montage of Hugh and Paul talking, just having their little intimate moment about finally taking a vacation, and I thought that was nice.
That's all Hugh really needed. He just needed a vacation. After all that, he was just like, you need a break.
So I mean, we all need a break. Actually, we all need a break. So, so I thought it was really a great, nice cap to the ending, and I liked it. I liked the pullback to see Earth at the end, which really gave me the feels of, this is wrapping up a 2-season arc, kind of like the first 2 seasons of Discovery did, and they're working on season 5 now. So. I feel like this is, and also it brought it full circle, right, from, Earth not being a part of the Federation back when they first got to this 32nd century time frame. So, yeah, I thought it was great to see none other than Stacey Abrams, and to be honest, like just some of the internet trolling, like Ted Cruz saying, "What the hell is this?" and
really?
that's payoff of, he's, so because I can't fucking stand Ted Cruz.
All right, I understand.
He and Tarka essentially the same thing.
Okay.
So yes, is there an airlock nearby? Would be my question.
Right. So
you sound like you have a different feeling about this.
I do.
Of course.
I do like Stacey Abrams. Don't get me wrong. I love that she's a Star Trek fan. I love that. I love her just general like positioning, and obviously everything that she's done just from a political standpoint in terms of voter enablement versus voter suppression, and I definitely respect her as a politician. However, I did not like this cameo. And I think this really goes back to how I feel about Star Trek in general, in a broader sense, and how I do not really enjoy modern Trek as much as I do classic Trek, where one of the things I feel is most powerful about sci-fi and fantasy is, and I've talked about this before, but I'll talk about it again, it's really the power to tell a story through metaphor and through analogy. And I think that where Trek has really been effective has been where they try to articulate a message, but through a sci-fi lens and through this fantastical lens that's outside of our day-to-day. So I really think that that's where some of the best episodes of Star Trek really use that power of metaphor to tell stories effectively. And I think modern Trek, it's a double-edged sword, right? Like modern Trek is much more blatant about messaging. It's much less subtle. We've talked about this before. Like Discovery is not a subtle show. It's like it wears its values on sleeve, and it doesn't care whether you like it or not. It just kind of puts it out there. And I think there's like value to that, but it makes for less interesting television. It's not as when you're just screaming your values at the top of your lungs versus kind of giving it a lot of nuance. I think that it kind of allows the storytelling actually to be more dated more easily. And versus like some of these classic Trek episodes that are some of our favorites, they have long lasting power because it's up for interpretation, right? Like it's based upon where you might be. Like the way you interpret an episode 20 years later might be different than when we saw it in a day, but we can still find value in it because it's through power of metaphor that we're able to kind of see that story through that lens. So I just feel that this was stunt casting for the sake of stunt casting. And Star Trek has definitely done stunt casting in the past. Like, we had like Stephen Hawking, but it's Stephen fucking Hawking, who is like one of the most preeminent minds in our generation when it comes to physics and science. And it makes sense for him to have done his cameo in like Descent Part 1 or whatever. And we've gotten like a few other stunt castings throughout Star Trek. I just think that, the problem with Stacey Abrams is that it's not just any stunt casting, but she is a politician. And personally, I just think that, and, politics is very partisan nowadays. It's just really super left or super right. Like, I feel there's very little middle ground. And personally, I just think that if you bring a politician onto a show, it's even more blatant than just seeing 2K characters like living together. It's like I don't know. There's like just a complete lack of subtlety in terms of the storytelling, which I don't really love. And I get it. You know, again, I appreciate Stacey Abrams as a politician. Do I appreciate her as like a guest on Star Trek? Less so for me personally. But that also bubbles up and ladders up to my overall issue of Trek nowadays, which is, you know, it's not very nuanced storytelling in general. So I did not, this took me out of the story a little bit. It was, to me, is more of a distraction than anything else. I don't really think there was much substance to her side conversation with Michael. I actually didn't like that. Because she was like, oh, let's talk on the side. I was like, okay, where's this going? And literally, I really didn't think there was much substance to that conversation. I don't think it was really worth a one-on-one conversation on the side. So I don't know. I personally felt it was more distracting than anything. But I can also appreciate your viewpoint on it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sure. No, that's you know, it's totally fine.
Yeah,
I hear your points and don't necessarily agree with them fully, but I don't disagree with them fully either.
Yeah.
So
I think it's like what I look for in good stories, you know, like, and for me, that's just, I don't know, it was distracting.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think have we covered everything we need to for Discovery's finale? Can we go on
I think so. I do think it'd be good for us to talk next week about, like you said, the season as a whole, because there were some like bright spots. Like, it wasn't like, I feel towards the latter half, we got kind of more down about it, but I do think that there were some good parts to, there were some standout episodes and standout moments. So I think we should talk about that too. Revisit those.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Cool. All right. So that wraps up the Discovery season finale. Why don't we talk about Picard season 2, episode 3, Assimilation?
Doctor, are you all right? Your plan worked. Power has been restored, along with the Queen. However, same leopard, same spots.
No need to keep her activated then.
Agreed.
Idle human threats. You won't deactivate me because you have a deeply flawed inability not to hope in the face of hopelessness. I hold information you need. You, against all odds, hope I'll relent. Therefore, you won't deactivate me. With each passing second, the mathematical probability that I get your ship grows. In the end, you'll sacrifice your lives for the future of the many. So, in the interest of efficiency, shall we just fast forward?
What exactly is the information you hold?
The location of the Watcher, and when the temporal divergence occurs.
Are you sure about that?
What did you do? Where is it? You
Stole it. Computer, dictate the file log shit I stole from the Borg Queen.
34.0488 north. No one takes from me, my dear.
Coordinates.
To find the Watcher.
Oh, well done.
I suppose even higher cybernetic life forms can get sloppy with where they leave secrets lying around. But there's more, isn't there? When it happens. I can almost feel it. It'll come to me.
What you have just done here is more difficult and vastly more dangerous than you realize.
And what is that?
You've impressed me.
All right.
So I went first on Discovery. So
okay.
Johnson, why don't you share your overarching thoughts on this latest episode of Picard?
Sure. Yeah. So we didn't really talk about this. You only had one minor comment about this episode of Picard. I did not love it as much as I did the first 2 episodes of Picard. I still liked it. I thought that it had a lot of great moments. I do think, similar to Discovery, some of the things are a little bit too on the nose and a little too blatant. Like, you know, the ice police coming for
Sure,
Chris.
yeah.
I was like, okay, sure, but overall, I mean, this is kind of like, things slowed down this episode because they went back in the past, they had to figure out where they were, and they had to kind of reset a little bit, and we had to kind of reestablish what our objectives are and what we're here to do, and people had to get their bearings a little bit. So things did slow down from a narrative standpoint versus, I think, the first two episodes, like other than maybe the first 20 minutes of episode 1, it was like full steam ahead, so things definitely slowed down. Highlights for me in this episode, definitely, I would say 7. I really like that she's kind of like in a different space, and I like that she's now kind of able to enjoy her humanity a little bit more and explore that and just be kind of a normal quote unquote person without having people fear her. Like, that was nice to see, and that was cool. And definitely all the scenes between Jurati and the Borg Queen, that was definitely a highlight. Just some of those moments, it was like the way they played off each other and all that, I thought was done really effectively, and it definitely sets things up for where Jurati is gonna go this season. And there are a lot of theories about that, but that I really did enjoy. And yeah, despite Chris kind of getting like a concussion, I mean, I kind of like some of the moments between her and the cute doctor. Those are good. But yeah, I feel this is kind of more of like a setup episode, I'm not quite sure if we're back in DS9 2024 because we got these tents, I guess, these homeless tents, but that's literally LA right now. It's not really like, what we saw in DS9 and past tense where they had like basically like walled off parts of the city for the homeless. This was like literally like the tent cities, which if you go to LA right now, they're there. So I think they're kind of paying homage to that a little bit, but obviously this is not the same 2024 as past tense where people were like in crazy outfits. Like, it was like how people saw the future in the 90s, like it was like that. This was definitely not the same era that we visited in that episode, but I think they tried to recognize that, we visited this year before. So yeah, but overall I liked it. It wasn't the strongest episode, but I'm still liking this season of Picard much more than season 1.
Yeah, I mean, when when I first watched it, I messaged you and said I was kind of disappointed with it, or it felt a little slow, and after rewatching it this afternoon, I actually listening to the Discovering Trek crew talk about it a little bit, got me more into thinking about it and what it was trying to do and everything. So I watched it this afternoon and enjoyed it much more and see how it fits in. And it is a strong, it's not as strong, I would agree, as the first 2 episodes, but I do see how it is setting up the future, the kind of the reset of it being in 2024. And like you said, reestablishing the objectives and why they're there and what they need to do. I think I kind of expected it, but Eleanor's death kind of was disappointing.
Oh, right.
I mean, I
forgot about him.
And Rafi's reaction to it felt...
Yeah, I thought that was so
really
weird. Like, she was obviously angry, but I was like, why is it Picard's fault? Whatever.
Well, so I thought it was a really strong reaction, and I'm sort of in between how I feel about it, because I think that everyone else kind of didn't have an emotional reaction to it. Specifically, right. Picard had zero emotional reaction to it.
I was like, why is Rafi? Why is Rafi the only one? Because
that really bothered me. Yeah, Picard didn't have everything.
Picard saw Eleanor as a boy,
Yeah.
If anything, he's been a surrogate father to this kid. So he was just like, and maybe, okay, so the one thing I will say is maybe this is speaking to Picard's larger emotional arc this season, where
Mhm.
he is kind of, he kind of is very, he's generally very stoic, even in moments of loss. And honestly, like, we haven't seen him like break down or cry or whatever that much. And one of the few points where he has done that is in Generations when his brother died. But
Mhm.
for the most part, he is stoic and he has this wall around his heart. I think that that's what we're also kind of trying to get at in this season, and maybe the reason why he has issues with those, like, being open to his feelings and letting love in, I suppose. But I did think it was very awkward that he didn't even like really talk about Eleanor's death that much.
No, none of them, none of them did. Seven tried to talk to her a little bit about it, and she didn't want to talk about it.
Right.
Which, I think for me, one of the standouts of this episode was seeing Rafi and Seven and their interactions throughout the episode. I thought were really good. But yeah, I think that there was just this lack of response from everyone else, and like Rafi took the spotlight and just, like, she was sort of the lightning rod for all of the anger and sadness and frustration at losing that, and that they were choosing the Queen over Elnor, with the hope that Elnor will come back if they reset the timeline. So yeah, it just felt, that part of the episode felt really empty to me, and I actually didn't really like that part of it as much.
Yeah, I thought it was odd. It definitely,
Yeah.
I definitely noticed it too, and it was a little strange.
Yeah, I mean, so there's that piece of it. Then there's I do like the rest of the interactions with Seven and Rafi. I think are really great. I love how Seven talks to the security guard, and how Rafi's comment is, you in 2024 should get a room.
Yeah, that was cute.
That was a nice little repartee there, but also Seven interacting with a human in a very human way, and not in a very Borg-like awkward way. I thought was really,
well, she was still
really
kind of awkward. She was like, wait, I don't remember how she said, like, we're here to take a photo, but it was like the most like
celluloid something, or
yeah,
celluloid photograph of so
yeah,
or something.
I still like
so,
those
yeah.
like kind of like fish out of water moments that we get.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, so I really like that, and for me, aside from the two of them in there, I did like the Rios thing a little bit. It's fine. It felt very familiar, meaning like it's been done before. This sort of piece to it, and so I'm wondering why there is this piece to it, because it just kind of feels out of whack, and why Seven and Rafi's transporter worked fine, and Rios's didn't.
Well, they were they still materialized far apart from each other, which they did say was a possibility.
Yes, yeah. But to transport above onto like a
midair,
half onto a fire escape or whatever, just seemed it just, yeah. So I don't get what the whole this whole piece of it is, or why it needed to be there, really.
Well, I wonder if they're also setting, and this may not be, but I was left wondering if it's one of those things where everything messes up because they did decide to go in the past, and it's a paradox, and it's because they're there. Very similar to All Good Things, where from in trying to fix the past, they actually cause the future to kind of blow up. It's a possibility.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that is certainly a possibility. Sure. But the real standout for me is just honestly, like, and Picard sort of takes a back seat. So Patrick sort of takes a back seat, and it's really Alison Pill as Jurati and Annie Wershing as the Borg Queen, and their interaction was just so amazing, so well written, and so it was just yeah, I thought it was really, really well done. I thought the twist on Jurati was really awesome. The fact that the Borg Queen is now fascinated by Jurati, because she was tricky and did all the things to steal the information. I thought was really brilliant. So I really like that. So I'm actually really liking what's happening with Jurati right now.
I was a little unclear. Can you explain to me, because like Jurati had to go into the Borg Queen's consciousness or subconsciousness to kind of boot her back up? Like, can you explain that? It was a little bit fuzzy to me. They explained it really quickly. I only watched the episode once. And we get like the completion meter, but I wasn't quite sure what she was there to do, like why she had to like kind of become part of
the Borg Queen couldn't. Yeah, the Borg Queen couldn't verbally communicate,
right?
And so the only way to do that was through contact with another person. Picard kind of explained that they talked to each other through their heads,
right?
The way that they did it with Jurati, her subconscious was talking out loud, where her main personality or whatever, her conscious mind was in the Borg Queen, and in like a little, I don't know, this network between the two of them, I guess,
to kind of bring her back or something.
Yeah, I don't know, to figure out what's going on.
Did she have to fix the power core or something? Like, do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't know. I'm trying to think.
It was like one of those like technobabble moments where it's like, I know you need to let yourself get semi-assimilated, but I'm not quite sure why.
Yeah. So. But the outcome of it is that she, and then there was this bit of it where they're talking in each other's voices.
Right. That was cool.
Which I thought was really cool. And it sort of explains, like, so the Borg Queen was in her mind, but she was in the Borg Queen's mind, and that's where she got all the information and took all the information that she needed to help the crew and whatnot. So, so there's that piece of it that I thought was really well done. So, I think that sort of lends more credence to what I think, my prediction on Discovering Trek was that I think that Jurati is actually the Borg Queen.
Was that your prediction on Discovering Trek?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
From a conversation before, and then I sort of like am seeing more and more of it, and so I'm like, yeah, that's my prediction. It is Jurati.
I agree with that idea.
So the rest of it, so I think those were the highlights for me, the emotional pieces and just the Jurati and Seven and Raffi sort of stood out for me. It's interesting now that we're down to like 5 main characters plus whoever this Watcher is, which we'll hopefully find out tomorrow. Which is, who knows who it's going to be, really. It's really hard to, there are lots of ideas, but who may it be? I don't know. So yeah, I think that it's just gonna be, I enjoyed it much more the second time around. Got to really focus on the character moments between Jurati and the Queen and Seven and Raffi. So you're unplugged. No,
I'm not. I'm just playing.
So that's my thoughts on Picard. I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to where it kind of goes now that we've got the setup. I'm interested to see where it goes from here. And I think it's there's some real moments of really great writing in this series so far. And I still think that the scene with Raffi expressing her grief and everyone else being kind of like dumbfounded. I don't know. Like, that,
or just not even dumb. I mean, just like not emotionally impacted.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel that they really. They could have done more of that scene, but
yeah.
Oh wow.
But otherwise than that, I think, yeah, another great episode of Picard. And I'm excited to just be able to watch that tomorrow. Yeah.
But not Discovery, because that's over.
That's over.
We don't have to
yes.
complain about Discovery anymore.
Right.
Cool. All right. Well, I think that about does it for our discussion of both Discovery, this Discovery finale, and Picard season 2, episode 3. So should we pause?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that about does it for both this episode of Picard and the season finale of Discovery, unless Mike, you had anything else?
No, that's a lot of Star Trek to talk about.
It's a lot of Star Trek. A lot of Star Trek. Yeah. So, well, Mike, do you want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor?
Yeah, Fansets is the exclusive sponsor of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network and Deep Space Pride. And their March 15th releases for pins in the Star Trek world are cover a bunch of different genres. So we have the Cetacean Ops Officer Lieutenant Matt. We have Adira from her Earth Force days. Was it Earth Force? I think it was Earth Force, right? And Loxana Troy. I'm looking at it and it's LW and it just threw me off. So 3 new micro pin crew through 3 micro crew pins cannot talk.
Wow.
Go to fansets.com, check out these and all the other Star Trek pins. They also have a ton of other fandoms that you can check out, including DC Comics, Rick and Morty, Harry Potter, and a whole bunch more. And put a bunch of pins into your cart. And if you spend more than $30 in the US, you're going to get free shipping. And if you use the code DSPRIDE, all one word, you're going to get 10% off your order.
All caps.
All caps, yes. DSPRIDE.
Yes.
And we thank Fansets for being our exclusive sponsor of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network and Deep Space Pride.
Thanks, Fansets. All right. So for those of you that want to reach out to us, contact us on social media or otherwise. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at DSpacePride. And you can also email us at dspacepride@gmail.com. And if you like this podcast or this episode or both, please leave us a good review on your platform of choice. And we will really appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. All right.
Wow.
So yeah, I think that wraps up another episode. I guess we'll see each other all next week, where we will talk about the next episode of Picard and also do a quick wrap up of season 4 of our favorite show, Discovery. Lols. All right.
Well, thanks everybody for listening.
Thanks everyone.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Deep Space Pride is a production of Coconut Media Works. Executive producers Bill Smith and Dan Davidson. For more great Star Trek discussion, discover the other shows of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network at trekgeeks.com or find us in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app.
Coconut.